Welcome back to the ladies' dressing room. Yesterday when I was filming, I said, welcome back to the ladies' dressing table. And it's really funny because I had this moment the other day when I was just laying in bed thinking, every single time I open up this, when I start speaking, I am sitting at the dressing table. So should I have named this channel the ladies' dressing table? But I talked to my husband and my daughter about it, and one of my daughters, and she said, no, the ladies' dressing room sounded better, and that it kind of just holds everything that I share with you. So there's that. Well, I come to you today in color because how could I not if we are going to speak about a color story? So I'm in one of my more bold dressing gowns and nightgown sets, and I love this one. It does have a little stain on it, unfortunately, and this is a vintage set, but it's still really pretty. And when I purchased this one, I found the same one in a really pretty yellow. And I ended up gifting it to my sister-in-law because she looks amazing in yellow, and just about any yellow, especially with her blonde hair and just her coloring. It was such a cheerful set, and I was happy to give it to her. So let's talk about color stories and this whole concept that is, on the surface, I think it can sound really ridiculous and that it would be way more work than it's worth to do this, but I have found it to be very inspiring, as well as a way for me to just kind of decompress at the end of the week, just to kind of revisit my dressing room and curate it in such a way that it is a joy to walk into. And not only that, but it encourages me to wear other dresses other than the ones that I would typically reach for all the time. And I still have those dresses that I reach for all the time. And I'll talk to you about how I, we have our favorites, right? We can't get away from our favorites. I love solids. I find that I return to them over and over again. I never tire of them. And as long as I'm choosing colors that I really love, unless I'm growing out of the dress, I really don't end up tiring of it and then getting rid of it. So solids are great. And this is how I work things into a color story. So what is a color story? A color story is simply a pattern dress, and it really doesn't have to be a pattern dress, but this is where I gained my inspiration for choosing different sets of dresses to wear each week. I would choose a pattern piece, usually a pattern dress, and within that dress are different colors, and I would just pull different dresses that have those same colors within them or something very similar, hang them all up together, and it would just look really pretty and beautiful. And so I've actually written about this recently in my May digital magazine over on Patreon, which is linked in my description box below if you're interested in reading it. I release a new issue every single month up to this point, and I hope to continue to do so. And that writing has been so much fun because I feel like I really get my thoughts out clearly in my writings, and hopefully they describe things a lot better than I do so when I show up on video. And another thing that I have loved doing ever since I could remember is walking into a store, and I'm one that is very swayed by the merchandising in a store. And it's like they know this, right? How are we so convinced that we need this and we need that? Or just to purchase something and to bring it home. It's packaging, it's colors, it is the way things are laid out in a store. And there's a whole department for merchandising and for those that, are able to basically get into our heads to get us to purchase. So what I noticed was that every single month or couple of months, not even waiting until a season changes, it is multiple times within a season, you see the turnover of different clothing items, different color palettes, things like that. And what I noticed was that every time I went into the store, I was very drawn to those really curated sections, especially when it came to, I mean, it's not limited to clothing. I will just say that. There could be home decor, stuff for your desk, anything like that. Planners, notebooks, anything like that. And most of us really love color, and we're drawn to the beauty that it holds. And that was something that I found myself becoming not trapped by, but just not controlled by. Maybe there was a level of control. It was mind control. Just swayed by, let's say that. Very swayed by the different ways that things were displayed. So I decided that this is what I would do for myself, and I would end up curating my dressing room or my wardrobe, my closet, whatever I had, into a mini boutique for myself. And I would go through my items regularly and, you know, curate them in such a way for the week, or it could be for the week or for a couple of weeks or a month. It just depends on really my mood and if I am in the mood to change things out, or, you know, just all of that. It really does depend on that. But I was just finding that really based off of my mood, I would tire of things or have that feeling of I have nothing to wear because I would be tired of something. And so changing things over like this within the wardrobe keeps things fresh, and it makes it feel like you're shopping your own closet, really, because you're not seeing these pieces all the time when you put them away for a time and then bring them back out and go through the whole process of choosing different colors. And you know what? Here's something that can be done, and something that I had done at one point myself, was that I put all of my dresses, you know, out in my closet, all by color. Usually it was kind of like the rainbow, or just, you know, different colors paired together. That is really how I used to like to organize my wardrobe. Now I display things in such a way where it's not necessarily, you know, all the greens together, all the blues together like that. I intersperse them. I just arrange them in a pleasing way for that week. That's what I do. And I don't stop at my dresses either. If I'm wearing skirts or blouses, I will pull those colors out as well. I will also sometimes bring in something else that is that color that I may want to use to just decorate my dressing room for that time too, just to bring that color in. So it could be within boxes, anything like that. But for the most part, I have settled on more of a neutral, or what my neutrals are, like blush and creams and golds, and you know, just soft whites for those things that I display all the time within my wardrobe. And that way, whatever colors I bring in within my dresses, and sometimes I'll even go as far as my dressing gowns, and my nightwear. That way I get more use out of the variety of vintage pieces that I have. And, you know, I'll just pull some of those colors that I have as well and fit them in with my everyday ones, the ones that I usually wear all the time. So that's really how I've been organizing things for a while now. I've loved doing that. So you may see all of these different pictures sometimes of capsule wardrobes, right? I know that I was really drawn to capsule wardrobes for the simple fact that it looked pleasing to the eye and there were different colors that went together. However, to try to just choose certain colors, like where there are more neutrals, you put a little color in there and then that just be all that you will have for that season. I personally tired of that. That wasn't something that worked well for me, because then I was just always thinking, well, I wanted to go and shop. I wanted to find something else within my wardrobe. So here's the thing. You really need to figure out what works best for you. What are your weaknesses? What kind of things can you do to kind of, you know, help yourself in these different areas? This was something that I found was very helpful for me because I loved the feeling of shopping something new and seeing something new. I like change in certain things, and this was one way that I was able to achieve that change and also to have that fresh and new feeling with the things that I already had. But at the same time, I could also be overwhelmed with such a variety of the different colors that I like to have within my wardrobe. So this is what I've come up with to do within my Leading Lady wardrobe, is to incorporate color stories. When I feel like changing things out, I will choose usually a pattern piece and go off of that. Today's dress of the day is by Tommy Hilfiger, and this is a dress that I tried on from the TJ Maxx haul, or TJ Maxx try on, that I took you all along with me on the other week. And I decided not to purchase this dress. This did not make the cut at the time of my filming that. But then many of you had also talked about how you liked that dress. It was, you know, the clean lines, everything. And there was so much about that I was drawn to, and certain things that I felt like I could overlook for the simple fact of the other things that I really liked about it. I loved the clean cut about it. I really liked the A-line to it and the way that it moved, and I really also liked the color of the blue that it was, because it wasn't like a royal or it wasn't a real deep blue, and like the one that I had ended up purchasing that I was in when I was talking about the dresses. It was softer than that and more within my color palette. And so anyway, just after reading some of your comments, it really did help me to just think more about that piece, because it was something that stayed on my mind even after I left, even before I made the video. It was just one of those pieces that I thought, you know, why didn't I just get that one? Yes, I had another striped dress, but the other striped dress that I had was a lot lighter. The blue was a lot lighter. And this one, I just loved the cut of it. It did show my arms a little more, and I feel like because of the surgery that I had had recently on my arm, I felt like that kind of made it to where it held me back more from purchasing the dress. It was one of those deciding factors for me, but then I thought, you know, that's going to heal, and that dress probably won't be there again. Not that shirt dresses are really that hard to come by, but it didn't pull in the bust area, and it had such a nice feel to the fabric and the way that it moved, and also the way that it was cut underneath the arm was really nice, because it covered the undergarments that I was wearing, which can sometimes be difficult. And I think some of you experience that too with certain dresses, are the armholes and whether or not it's going to cover everything. So we really appreciate when they do cover everything. But another problem that we can have is that they can be too tight or dig in, like it's not big enough, right? And so there is that sweet spot when it comes to armholes. Anyway, that dress came with this sash, and I haven't been wearing the sash with it, but I do have these other belts that I think look nice with it that I found on Amazon. And this is the one that I've been wearing with it. It's more of a nude color, or a blush nude color, because it really matches the shoes and the purse that I wear most of the time anyway. I am on the hunt for a purse this color, and I feel like I found a good one at Kohl's by Lauren Conrad, but I still haven't gotten it yet, and I'm still thinking about it. So I don't know. Sometimes I could just feel a little funny wearing this in a belt, with shoes, with a purse, especially when I'm so used to wearing something else, something lighter. So that has been something that I've been thinking about, and I also would like to find some shoes that match this, that are more of like a, kind of like a mule probably, but we will just have to see about that. So anyway, back to the color story. I hope that I'm explaining it well, and that it's something that some would understand, because I do, I have received questions even after I have explained it. But one of the things that I like to do, which I think I touched on, was that I pack the other dresses away, or fold them up and put them away. That way they're not on display. So I don't have all of my dresses on display. And speaking of, one of you asked how many dresses I have. And you know, I will show up in my dressing gowns. I will share my underwear drawers. But do not ask me how many dresses I have, because that is a personal question. Oh my goodness. I don't know how many. I don't keep track of that. And also, I just kind of feel like I have so many that come in and that go out. And I will say, if I purchase a dress, sometimes I'll wear it a couple of times, maybe even one time, and then it's really not for me, but I've already, you know, taken the tags off, I've already worn it, washed it. And the wonderful thing is that I have 3 daughters, and so many of my dresses have gone to them. I've also sold a lot on Poshmark and just kind of, you know, recycled those funds that I've used. And it's not one of those things that I keep track of. So, and it's quite personal. So, I don't have an answer for you. Use your colors. Kind of create a capsule wardrobe look, but for the week. And this, I think, helps you to use more of your wardrobe more often. And then we have those tried and true pieces, right? I have those tried and true, the neutrals that I usually reach for over and over again, like the cream dress. Some of these dresses you have already seen recently, and like I will keep those, say after I wash them for the week, I will keep that one out, but I will pull the ones that have the colors that I want to switch out. So say I went with teals and blues and greens or something like that with cream. This week, next week I might go with the creams and whites and pinks and blushes and, you know, just variations of that color. And then the week after that, I would keep the cream in there, and then I might add yellow, and, you know, all of those things that you have seen me share with you, the different dresses. I just end up pairing some of those same solid dresses with other colors, and it creates a completely different look. And that's one of the things that you will notice when you go into a store, for instance, and you know, do the merchandising and just the arranging of everything. And, you know, this doesn't always work out for everyone's wardrobe. I also want to acknowledge that this would be more for someone who maybe has a lot of variety when it comes to their colors and multiples in different shades and things like that, like yours truly, because dresses are just something that I love. I love to wear them every day. I feel like I have dresses the way some have athleisure. I mean, I've seen some drawers and it's like t-shirts and athleisure. That's more of like how I have my clothing. Those would be my dresses, and I wear them every day. I really like to curate my closet to look beautiful and feel fresh and new every single week. So I feel like this is why I'm drawn to the capsule wardrobe, is because it's something that is very pleasing to the eye. It looks minimal, but it's just the selection that you're going to go with for a time. So that is a color story. Today's dressing space comes from Amy Jolene, and with us talking about color stories, I felt that this was so appropriate. She said, I'm sharing my new closet room with you. Since we recently became empty nesters, my husband encouraged me to turn one of the bedrooms into a closet because I have way too many clothes. So this room is a work in progress. I am still on the hunt for the perfect artwork and storage pieces, but in the meantime, I absolutely love having a pretty place for all my dresses and purses and shoes. I love everything you share about your wardrobe and lovely dresses. You are always a beautiful source of inspiration. I am so excited about a dress a day in May. Well, Amy Jolene, this is so cute. I cannot get over this dressing room that you have, or closet room, whatever you would like to call it. It is so pretty, and clearly you know what colors you love, and they're all so pretty and they look wonderful together. I would say this is such a beautiful color story and just color palette to go with. I feel like I want to go shopping in your closet room. Yes, I do. These dresses just look beautiful. I would love to know, where do you find most of your dresses? Where do you like to go shopping? If you would please share that with us in the comments below. But I also like how you have all of these other purses and hats and different things on display. It just looks beautiful. You have such a pretty rug there and all of it. It's just eye candy, really. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. It really means a lot to me that you do. And if you are interested in sharing a dressing space of yours, I hope that you will email me at inspiredbynikkiyt@gmail.com. And I really hope that you will copy that in my description box below, because sometimes people misspell my name. Sometimes they put a Y in it. Sometimes they don't put the 2 I's and the 2 K's. So just be very mindful of how everything is spelled if you are emailing me. That way I don't miss one of your emails. And I will let you know the day of that I'm sharing your picture if you do email me. So if you haven't received an email back from me yet, just know that that will be coming the day that I share your closet, or your dressing space. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I really hope that this video inspired you in some way. And of course, I hope that you choose beauty every day.